It was a quiet Saturday night on the block. Then the gunshots erupted. Longtime resident and military veteran Joseph Kane lives across the street from where 20-year-old Rashard Queen was shot by a hail of 25 bullets.
Shots rang out just outside, and immediately told Angel, my wife, get down. The kids were upstairs. They ran downstairs. What is that? Gunshots? Told them to get down as well. It kind of brought back memories, not fond memories, but just memories of just what it looked like or felt like to be in a combat zone, if you will, where just gunshots are going off and or training is happening, and you don't expect it to hit it outside your home in the middle of the night.
Queen's loved ones and community members were devastated by the loss and held a candlelight vigil to commemorate his life.
Have a moment of anger and wanting to do something different, but this is a lifetime journey of us changing Baltimore City and making sure that things like this never happen to anybody else. So I'm asking you today, in honor of Rashard, to not let today just end by you going home and shedding a couple of tears, but continue to come out and work, continue to make a difference, continue to walk upright and be an example for those people who have not seen an example. I ask you to do that, and I ask you to rejoice. Do not cry, but rejoice that Rashard is in a much better place.
Democratic state nominee Mary Washington lives a few blocks from the site of the killing.
We're going to have conflicts. People are going to fight. But the thing is, what we have right now is access to guns, access to deadly weapons, and then also no real ways for people to choose another path. What supports do these families need? Are there housing supports? Are there behavioral health supports? Are the children in those communities, in those households that seem to be the repeat either perpetrators or the survivors of this violence, what supports do they need?
Baltimore is considered one of America's deadliest cities. Over 170 people have been killed already in 2018.
But this community, for example, is one that's been always organized and active. And how do we push back against that? How do we organize around the systemic issues that cause these type of things? And so you have, like, for me, my wife, we are very active in organizing with education in Baltimore City, being on the PTO or being in PCAB. So I think this community in general is one that has always been active. And how do we get to the systemic, how do we get to the root causes of these things so we don't have these type of issues moving forward?
It's unlikely Rashard Queen's killer will ever be brought to justice. Over the past 10 years, just 1 in 3 city homicides have resulted in an arrest, the Washington Post has found. Neil Franklin is a 34-year veteran Maryland State police officer and former head of training for the Baltimore Police Department.
We've got deplorable clearance rates for the homicides of these young black males and women here in Baltimore City, and kids, by the way, primarily because we don't get, when I say we, the police do not get the information that they need from the citizens. Again, lack of trust. Until we solve the issue of trust between the police and the community, and this rests squarely in the hands of policing. Until we solve that, your clearance rates are going to remain low.
Today, Franklin opposes the war on drugs and says it's fueling violence.
The reason we have this proliferation of guns in Baltimore, in Chicago, in New York City, in these major cities, the foundation of that is the drug trade.
In response to rising crime rates, Republican Governor Larry Hogan teamed up with centrist Democrats to pass tough-on-crime legislation, something both Mary Washington and Neil Franklin oppose.
Mandatory minimums do not work. These crackdowns do not work. And so for us to continue failed practices is not the path we should be going. We should highly invest in the communities that are disproportionately being impacted by gun violence.
We tend to put our resources and critical thinking, we focus that on police and their job and their strategies, their tactics, their crime plans. But the real solutions are social issues. The real solutions are, jobs, education, healthcare, mental health, and of course, failed war on drugs.
For The Real News, this is Jessel Noor in Baltimore.